All right, so hopefully you're seeing a PowerPoint right now that shows an advising guide on it. I'm trying to confirm that. Looks like that's what you're seeing. Okay, pardon me. So you're in 1405 now, and since you finished 1405, the courses you could take next semester would include Dftg 1417, and let me get a pointer up here. Change my ink color. So Dftg 1417, this is the architectural drafting course that covers residential architecture. And this course, as it says right here, uses AutoCAD. And so Dftg 1405 is a prerequisite for taking that course. That would be a good course for almost anyone, because it's one of those courses that's required in a lot of our degree plans. And so the degree plan I'm showing you right now, which is the Architectural Graphics AAS degree. So this is if you want to go to work as an architectural CAD technician, this would be the degree that you would seek. And I'll talk about the certificate that goes along with this in just a second. So next semester you could take Dftg 1417. You could take Dftg 2431. Now what 2431 is it is the introduction to BIM. And BIM is the Building Information Modeling Program. And the one we use is called Revit. And so a lot of architectural firms use Revit. And so this is the introduction to that. And if you're an architectural major, one of the reasons why it's good to consider taking both of these courses here next semester is that they are the prerequisite together for a lot of the courses pardon me, that follow in the next semester. All right. So, that would be a reason to take both of those. Now, you don't want to overload yourself. If you're only up for taking one course a semester, that's fine. Just, choose one of these courses and take it. 2431 is going to be offered totally online, and I think 1417, it's also going to be offered totally online, but one of the sections of 1417 is going to be offered in what we call a synchronous method, which means that there will be set meeting times in the evenings, and you would be expected to attend those because that's when the lecture will happen, and then the instructor will be there the whole time. And so anyway, it's a little closer to what goes on in the classroom, except you'll still be working from home, but your instructor will be there, and they will intend to do most of their lectures on the evenings that you're supposed to be in class. Another class you can take next semester is 1433, which is mechanical drafting, and then the other course you can take is 2430, which is civil drafting. And so I want to point something out that 2430, which is the civil drafting, it's required for the Architectural Graphics Associate degree. It's also required on the Civil Associate degree. It's required on the Mechanical Associate degree. And it's one of the choices that you have if you do the Electronic CAD degree. The same is true right here for 1433, which is mechanical drafting. It's required in architecture, it's required in civil, it's required in mechanical, and then it's one of the options that you can choose from if you do the electronics CAD degree. So really what I'm showing you here is that 2431 and 1433 and 2430, these three guys right here, those are required on three of our degrees: architectural CAD, mechanical CAD, and civil CAD. And then you have to choose from among these as restricted electives in the electronic CAD associate degree. All right. So now for you architectural majors, there are a couple of architecture courses that do not require 1405 that you could take. You could take ARC 1307, which is Architectural Graphics 1. You could take Architecture 1311, Intro to Architecture, and you could take Architecture 1303, which is Architectural Design 1. those do not have a prerequisite at all, so you could take those whenever you wanted to. Almost everything over here in the third semester has prerequisites, and sometimes they have multiple prerequisites. So right here, it has a little asterisk, and it says prerequisites are 1417 and 2431. So you can see this course, and this course all have that prerequisite of 1417 and 2431, which, as I said, you can take next semester. All right. Now, if you look at the Architectural CAD and BIM certificate, which is right here, all of the courses in the certificate are also in the degree plan. And so what we always recommend is that you go ahead and apply for the certificate before you get the degree. Usually you do that in the semester before you get the degree. And but because all of these courses apply to the degree, usually the next semester is when you would get your associate degree. But just as a reminder, you cannot get the certificate after the degree. So you have to get the certificate before you get a degree. Any questions anybody has? So let me see. You'll notice that the Architectural CAD and BIM certificate does not contain any of those ARCHs. All right. This degree or this certificate focuses purely on architectural CAD and architectural technical drawings, not basic architecture courses. So that's a part of the associate degree. Another thing I want to point out about our certificates is most of them require Dftg 1491, and Dftg 1491 is a portfolio class. And here's the way we do that. If you're going to take only the certificate and not go for the degree, we require that you take 1491 before you can get the certificate. So 1491 is the portfolio where you put everything together at the end, and it's reviewed by the faculty, but it also prepares you to go job hunting, and you have something you can show to employers and so on. It's really a pretty great course because of that. But if you are committed to going on for the associate degree, what we would let you do is take another drafting course in place of the portfolio course. And so most people would take another architecture course or something in place of the portfolio. And then we would substitute that when you get your certificate. And then the following semester, when you have taken all of the CAD related courses that you're going to take, that's when we let you take the portfolio, because the later you take the portfolio, the better, because you have more courses finished. And your portfolio is built from the projects and drawings that you've made in the courses you took before it. Okay, so what we do, we give you an entire semester to reopen all of your architecture courses or all your mechanical or all your civil, whichever associate degree you're going for. You reopen all of those and you make all your corrections and you make sure everything's perfect, and then you decide, okay, I'm going to use this detail out of this drawing in my portfolio. You don't just put everything in your portfolio. You cull everything and you focus on details, and you make it that into something that would be the strongest thing you could take to a job interview. That's the goal. Okay. Other things we work on in this course right here are we help you write a resume that is appropriate for a CAD job. So, the resume you have now is probably not appropriate for a CAD job. Okay. And so we focus on that. We work with you on that. And other things we help you get together, your references. So these are people who can, after you interview, if they like you, they're going to call your references. And these need to be people that will speak well of your CAD abilities and also what kind of person you are and that sort of thing. So I'm going to give you some advice. A lot of times the people you're going to ask to be your references are going to be your former faculty members at ACC. So if you are an architectural major, it would do you well to really work hard in your architecture courses and impress the architectural faculty, because at some point you may be asking them if you can use them as a reference, because most of you won't have any any work experience in architectural CAD that they can call. So having the faculty is the next best thing. Now, the way that hurts you or could go against you is this: if you don't come to class, if you're always cutting class, or your projects were always late in the architecture classes or something like that, then that makes it harder for them to say something good about you, right? So just keep all that in mind as you go through. So for you guys who are interested in civil, and remember, there's always been a lot of jobs in civil, there's been a lot in architecture. Next semester, after taking 1405, you could take 2431, 1433, and you could take 1417 if you want to. We've already talked about those, but you can take 2430. But the other course you can take that is a civil related course is called topographical drafting, and that's 2421. So if you are a civil major, next semester you could take these two courses, 2430 and 2421. And the reason why you want to take both of those probably is because in the third semester, both of those courses are the prerequisites for some courses that you can take in the third semester. Now, one thing I want to point out to you guys is that Dftg 2430, which is the Introduction to Civil Drafting, Dftg 2430, and I don't know when this is going to go into effect, but its course number is going to change, and it's going to become Dftg 1430 instead of 2430. The state of Texas decided to make it what they consider a first-year course rather than a second-year course or a second semester. Anyway, they've got some rhyme or reason to the way they number courses. So eventually Dftg 2430 and our program will be Dftg 1430 in all our degree plans. All right. If you're going to do the civil associate degree, we would recommend you get the civil certificate first. And it's the same thing. You take 1405, which you're taking now, and then you can take 2430 and 2421 next semester. Another requirement, though, of the associate degree and the certificate is the introduction to GIS, GISC 1411. And then the same thing when you get over here in your third semester, you're required to take the portfolio, which if you're going to do the civil associate degree, we recommend that you take something else and we'll sub it, and then you push the portfolio class to your last semester when you have all of your civil courses finished. The electronic graphics specialization is a little bit different in it is so electronics heavy that we don't require that you take all of the civils and the architectures and everything else. And partly for that, the reason for that is that in electronic design, they don't use any of the programs that we normally use. Like AutoCAD is not a big program in electronic design. They use these real sophisticated integrated circuit design and printed circuit board design programs. So we tried to focus more on the software that you would use in that industry. And so in your first semester, if you're going for the associate degree, we do require that you take 1405, so you know the basics of drafting in CAD. And that also gets you ready in your second semester for a course called Dftg 1458. So this is a course you could enroll for next semester, Dftg 1458, which is electrical and electronic drafting. Another course you could take next semester is Dftg 2413, which is basic IC design. And you actually could have taken that this semester because 1405 is not the prereq for basic IC design. But you do have to take basic IC design before you take Dftg 2433, which is the advanced IC design. This semester you could have taken CETT 1405, which is DC circuits, but if you didn't take that, you could take it next semester. So this is not offered in our department. DC Circuits is offered through the Engineering Technology program at ACC. So it used to be the Electronics department at ACC. So this is just basic electronics, and it is the prerequisite for CETT 1425, which is called Digital Fundamentals. So the Electronic CAD associate degree has those 2 electronics courses required in it. And then as you get further into it, we let you choose from some courses that, that you might take. For example, you get over here, you've got, this is IC3, which is 1494. It's not an option. You have to take it. And 2405, which is printed circuit board, that's required. But down here, we let you choose your restricted elective. And so for a lot of students, that's going to be either civil or mechanical or architecture. They're going to take one of those courses. And so we're pretty generic when we list that down here. I kind of think mechanical, that Dftg 1433 might be the best fit for the electronic graphics student. So I would probably recommend Dftg 1433 if you were choosing a restricted elective. The point is that could actually be taken next semester because most of these don't have a prerequisite except for 1405. All right. Now, the IC Layout and Design certificate, again, you should get it before you get the Electronic CAD AAS degree. And all of the courses in this certificate are required in the Electronic CAD AAS degree. So we recommend getting this first. This certificate right here if you take that certificate right there, though, you have taken all the integrated circuit courses that we offer. And so you're not going to know more about integrated circuits by taking the associate degree necessarily, but you are going to pick up some more training in the associate's degree, and also in the associate degree, you're required to create the portfolio. And the portfolio definitely helps you when you go to job interviews. So I always recommend, start with the certificate and then finish up the associate degree. And this is especially true if you don't have a degree. You need to get a degree in something. And so getting an associate degree is not a bad idea in any case. And usually here's some of the advantages. If you get an associate degree, some companies will only talk to students that have an associate degree. And when they place you on the salary scale, generally, if you have an associate degree, you're going to start higher on the salary scale than you would if you didn't have it. Now, you may think that's not important, but if you start higher on the first day on the job, and then as you get raises and go through, that gets proportionately higher as you go through your career. So degrees actually do add up to more money over a lifetime. So, it's something to consider there. If you already have a degree in something else, then, you might start with a certificate. But, you could still consider getting an associate degree, because if you already have a bachelor's degree, let's say, or another associate degree, we could probably count your English again, and we could count your math, and we could count your social and behavioral science, and all those courses, which are called general education courses that are required for your associate degree. We could count those from your earlier degree, so you wouldn't have to repeat those. So really all you would be taking are CAD courses and technical courses. Okay, the mechanical specialization, if you're in 1405 right now, you could take this course right here, Dftg 1433, which is mechanical drafting. And you're going to learn to use a software called Inventor, which is a software that's customized just for mechanical design. And it's so much better than AutoCAD, but it's complicated. But once you get it down, you're not going to ever want to go back to AutoCAD. What the mechanical class teaches you to do is to create 3D models of machine parts, which is what we'll be talking about in this class next week, and then how to use those 3D models to get your front view and your top view and your side view and all that kind of stuff. So really what you're doing is you're creating a three-dimensional model that has intelligence built into it. And by intelligence, we mean that Inventor actually knows the dimensions of that thing. And so if you put a dimension on, it pulls the dimension out of the 3D model. And if you change the model, all your dimensions change instantly on your drawings. You don't have to go back in and redo your dimensions. It's just, so it's a lot better way to do mechanical. But 1405 is essential really before you get into that, so that you understand the basics of dimensioning and all the stuff you're going to get into in 1433. Another course you could take next semester would be the Introduction to CAD/CAM, which is Machine 1426. Now, this is where you actually get hands-on work with the CNC mill. And I just wanted to let you guys know that we will offer this course as a hybrid next semester, and we'll be at the Highland campus. And because of the COVID thing, though, instead of having the entire class there twice a week, we're going to have half of the class there one day each week, and then the other half you would have to work online. But the new mills that we were ordering have arrived. So right now, if you had taken this course at Northridge this semester, you would have access to only one CNC mill. When we move to Highland, which should start in January, because we're moving in November, and if you take Machine 1426, we're going to have access to 7 mills. And so everybody should get their own mill. You know, when you're there that one day, you should have your own mill if everything gets set up, and as what we're trying to do right now. The goal right now is for our department to move to Highland on November the 16th. So as soon as this semester ends, we're vacating the Northridge campus and moving everything we have, all our computers, all of our manufacturing equipment, all of our architectural studio stuff. It's all going to go to the new Highland campus. And so we're really excited to get over there. We're excited when you guys can finally come back, because it's going to be great. All right, so anyway, if you're a mechanical student, definitely take 1433 and consider taking Machine 1426. And then those are the prereqs for other courses. Now, eventually in the mechanical, though, you'll be required to take Dftg 2430, the Intro to Civil, so you could take that next semester. And then also we have on here Dftg 2431, which is the BIM course. So you could take that next semester or put it off and do the civil instead, because the only prerequisite for 2431 and 2430 is 1405. The certificate that goes along with the mechanical AAS is called the Computer-Aided Design, Computer-Aided Manufacturing. And so in industry, that's referred to as CAD/CAM, okay, Computer-Aided Design, Computer-Aided Manufacturing. And so, of course, you're in 1405. Next semester, you could take these two. And then those are prerequisites to start taking these courses over here in the third semester. And again, I would recommend earning this before you get the associate degree. And I would also recommend postponing Dftg 1491, the portfolio class, until your last semester, and not take it here, but take a different Dftg class and we'll substitute it. But if you're going to do that in any of these degrees, you probably should talk to me. I'm the department chair. Or if somebody else is the department chair, definitely talk to them, because you want them to know what's going on. All right, so some of you guys are probably interested in just getting an architecture degree. Now, this is not architectural CAD, and so 1405 is not even required in this. It's definitely helpful that you took it, but if you want to get an Associate of Science in Architecture because you want to transfer to architecture school, then this is the route. And so you could take Architectural Graphics next semester if you haven't already taken it. You could take 1311, which is Intro to Architecture, and you could take 1303, Architecture Design 1, if you haven't taken those. Now, the following semester, you have Architectural Design 2, so it does have a prerequisite of Arch Design 1, You could take Architectural Graphics 2, so it has a prerequisite. Architectural History, this 1301, that's Architectural History 1. There are no prerequisites for that. And you can take Architectural 1302 before you take 1301 if you want to, which seems weird. You think, well, how could you take Arch 1301 before you take Arch 1302? Well, okay, here's how. It's Architectural History, and Architectural History 1301 covers a time period, all right? And then Architectural History 1302 covers a more recent time period of architecture. So that's why you don't have to know about recent architecture before you take the older architectural studies. So anyway, it's just they each cover two different periods of time in architectural history, okay? So anyway, you can take either of those, and then of course you have your History 1301, your Speech 1315, all the things you're required to take before you get a bachelor's degree in architecture. You still have your math, which we have pre-calculus, and because most architecture degrees require at least calculus 1, and a lot of them are going to require engineering physics or something like that. And so you probably need to have at least pre-calculus, and you may have to have calculus to get your architecture degree. If they don't require more, it could be that they require calculus 2. I don't know. Just depends on the school. So you should check the architecture program that you're planning to transfer to. So then we have Architectural Design 3, and in the fourth semester, Architectural Design 4. So if you're taking Architectural Design 1 now, then you could take Architectural Design 2 in the spring. If you haven't had one, you could take one next semester. Now, one thing I should say about all of our courses is that they fill up very quickly. And so registration begins on October 26th. At least that's what the ACC calendar is saying right now. I doubt that will change, but they're saying that registration begins on October 26th. So I'm going to warn you guys, if you want to stay in our program, that our courses fill up like overnight. They're that popular. And so what I recommend doing is getting your courses planned, in the ACC system. Now, you may want to talk to an ACC counselor or somebody or advisor about that. But get your courses planned and set up in the system. And then on October the 26th at 12:01 a.m., 12:01 a.m., you might try to be enrolling right then, because courses actually do fill up very quickly in our department. And so I'm warning my 1405 guys, not all the 1405 teachers may be warning everyone to enroll early, but I would enroll as soon as you can get into the system and try to get the courses that you want, okay?